You know that feeling when you stay up all night tending a brisket only to slice into tough, dry meat the next afternoon? Yeah, I have been there. A cheap, leaky smoker ruined my weekend barbecue 2 years ago. The temperature swings were wild. That is when I realized most smokers are just badly designed metal boxes. I spent months testing the top models, so you do not have to. Let me walk you through the 7 best charcoal smokers out there, including one absolute game changer at number 1. Also, I've tagged all the exact products we talked about right here in the video, so you can easily check them out. Number 7. Masterbuilt AutoIgnite Series 545. Look, the concept here sounds incredible on paper. You press a button, the digital controller takes over, and your charcoal lights up automatically. It promises the flavor of charcoal with the ease of a pellet grill. But here's what matters when you actually get this thing in your backyard. I tested this model on a cold Saturday morning, expecting an effortless smoke. The digital fan system is supposed to feed air to the coals to maintain temperature, and when it functions properly, it does exactly that. The problem I ran into, and it is a pretty big one, is the reliance on the tech. I mean, you're mixing high heat, ash, and delicate electronics. During a long cook with a pork butt, the app lost connection twice, and the auto fan just kind of gave up. You know how frustrating it is to babysit a smart device? If the tech fails, you're basically left with a cold grate and a piece of meat sitting in the danger zone. The build quality feels a bit thin too, which means it struggles to hold heat when the wind picks up. It's a decent grill if you just want to sear some burgers on a weeknight, but for low and slow smoking, you want reliability. The AutoIgnite just gave me too many headaches to rank it any higher. 6. Weber Smokey Mountain Cooker. This is an absolute classic in the barbecue world. You will see these bullet-style smokers at competitions all the time. It is essentially 3 pieces of enameled steel stacked on top of each other. I spent a whole summer cooking on the 18-inch version. The water pan design inside actually does a great job of keeping the cooking chamber moist, which is crucial for things like ribs and chicken. You get plenty of space across 2 cooking grates. Well, here is the reality of using it week in and week out. The aluminum door on the front is flimsy. I mean, seriously flimsy. As soon as I fired it up, I watched thick blue smoke pour out from all around the edges of that door instead of going up through the top vent. You end up burning through your charcoal supply way faster than you should because of those air leaks. And trying to add more lit coals through that tiny side door mid-cook is honestly a massive pain. You have to get down on your hands and knees and carefully toss hot briquettes in without burning yourself. It produces decent food once you learn its quirks and maybe add some aftermarket gaskets, but you should not have to modify a brand new smoker just to make it seal properly. Bottom line, it feels a bit dated compared to what else is out there. 5. Cuisinart COS 118 Vertical Charcoal Smoker. This is where things start to look up. It is an 18-inch water smoker, structurally similar to the Weber, but honestly, it just feels a bit more thoughtfully put together for the everyday user. I ran a test batch of heavily rubbed chicken quarters on this unit. The setup was incredibly straightforward. The porcelain enameled water bowl sits perfectly above the fire, creating this beautiful steamy environment that prevents poultry from drying out. What I really appreciate here is the dual air vent system. Let me explain why that is so important. You get one vent on the bottom and one on top. Adjusting the bottom vent gave me surprising precision over the fire, far more than I expected at this price point. You know, maintaining 225 degrees is usually a struggle on budget-friendly smokers, but the Cuisinart actually locked in that temp for a solid 4 hours with barely any adjustments. The side door latches securely, which cuts down on those annoying smoke leaks I mentioned earlier. It is relatively lightweight, making it easy to move around the patio. If you're just getting into smoking and want a vertical barrel that will not fight you every step of the way, this is a fantastic starting point. You get 2 racks, plenty of vertical space, and consistent results. 4. Masterbuilt Gravity Series 1150. This thing is an absolute beast and a massive step forward in how we manage charcoal fires. Instead of a traditional firebox, you get a giant vertical hopper on the side that you fill with up to 16 pounds of briquettes. You light the bottom, set your temperature on the digital control board, and a fan precisely controls the burn rate. Gravity feeds fresh charcoal down into the fire as the bottom layer turns to ash. It is essentially the ultimate set-it-and-forget-it machine. I threw a massive prime packer brisket on the 1150. Usually that means waking up every 2 hours to check the fire. Not this time. I slept through the night, and the smoker held a perfect 250 degrees for 14 straight hours. The flavor profile is incredible because you can mix wood chunks right into the charcoal hopper. As the coals burn down, the wood catches, giving you this continuous clean smoke. You get the convenience of a pellet grill, but the undeniable deep flavor of real charcoal and wood. The sheer cooking area is ridiculous, easily handling multiple racks of ribs, briskets, and sides all at once. Plus, it can ramp up to 700 degrees in about 15 minutes if you want to sear a steak. It is versatile, powerful, and genuinely makes long cooks completely stress-free. 3. Oklahoma Joe's Bronco Pro Drum Smoker. If you want something built like an absolute tank, this is it. Drum smokers have a cult following for a reason, and Oklahoma Joe took that classic oil drum concept and engineered it into a masterpiece. The heavy-gauge steel construction on this thing is no joke. I tested it during a breezy, chilly afternoon, and the external weather did not affect the internal temperature one bit. The heat retention is just phenomenal, locking in your desired temp for hours on a single basket of charcoal. Let me explain my favorite feature here. It comes with meat hooks and a hanger system. I hung 3 racks of St. Louis ribs vertically inside the drum. The fat drips directly down onto the hot coals, vaporizes, and floats right back up into the meat. That vaporization process creates a distinct, rich flavor profile that you simply cannot replicate on a horizontal smoker. The bark I got on those ribs was dark, crispy, and absolutely perfect. You also get a traditional grate if you prefer to lay your meat flat. The oversized charcoal basket holds enough fuel for a 15-hour cook without needing a refill. You just dial in the intake and exhaust pipes, and the Bronco Pro sits right in the sweet spot all day long. It is rugged, reliable, and turns out competition-level barbecue. Now we are talking about traditional, authentic barbecue. This is a horizontal pipe smoker with a dedicated firebox on the side. It is exactly what you picture when you think of Texas-style barbecue. Cooking on the Highland is an experience. I spent a Sunday making pulled pork on this rig, and it forces you to slow down and truly manage your fire. You start with a bed of charcoal in the firebox and feed it split wood logs throughout the day. The heavy-gauge steel does an incredible job of drawing air in through the firebox, pulling that sweet blue smoke across the meat in the main chamber and drafting it out the smokestack. That constant airflow is the secret to getting a flawless smoke ring. You know, there's definitely a learning curve here. You have to watch your dampers and add wood at the right time, but once you catch the rhythm, it is incredibly rewarding. The space inside the main chamber easily fits multiple large cuts of meat simultaneously. Oklahoma Joe's includes a convenient access door on the firebox, letting you stoke the coals or add wood without losing heat in the cooking chamber. If you want to master the true art of fire management and produce backyard barbecue that rivals top-tier restaurants, the Highland is the tool for the job. Dyna offset charcoal smoker. This is the absolute pinnacle for backyard pitmasters. They took the traditional offset firebox and paired it with a massive vertical smoking chamber. It is the perfect marriage of capacity and performance. I am telling you, the efficiency of this design blew me away. Because heat naturally rises, the vertical chamber captures every ounce of smoke and warmth generated in that offset firebox. I loaded this thing up with 2 briskets, 4 racks of ribs, and a pan of mac and cheese, all at the same time. You get 6 adjustable cooking grates, meaning you can configure the interior however you need. The genius part is that the direct heat is kept completely isolated in the firebox. You never have to worry about flare-ups scorching the bottom of your expensive cuts of meat. Managing the fire is beautifully simple. The charcoal basket in the firebox slides out easily, so you can dump ashes or add fuel without disrupting the cook. During my testing, the temperature gauge on the main door barely fluctuated, proving how well this unit breathes and retains heat. Bottom line, the Dyna gives you unparalleled cooking space, flawless indirect heat, and that authentic deep smoke flavor we are all chasing. It handles neighborhood block parties just as easily as a quiet family dinner. If you want the absolute best charcoal smoking experience available right now, this is exactly what you need in your backyard. Final thought. That's all for today, folks.